Thank you and welcome to this training session on the bottle making procedure in an early learning setting. My name is Katherine Foster and I'm the early childhood teacher and educational leader here at Sparks Early Learning Centre. I'm currently studying to obtain my training and assessment qualification through the South Metro TAFE, and I'm very thankful that you are part of the process of me learning some new skills. I have been in education for 18 years. I've worked in the Pilbara as well as in the Southwest as an early childhood teacher in primary schools. This is my 6 months at Sparks and so far I've really enjoyed my time here. We moved into the area about 8 months ago and so far it's just been absolutely delightful to get to know the children in the area as well as the staff that work here. So thank you again for taking the time to participate in this session, and I really hope you learn and get things out of it. I provided you with the Sparks bottle making procedure handout prior to the training session, and you can always find it in the white file titled Policies and Procedure that's in Chris's office, along with all the procedures and policies of Sparks Early Learning Centre. So today, what are we going to learn? What are the outcomes for this training session? By the end of the session, you will be able to understand how the bottle making procedure links to the national quality standards and correctly follow and understand the Sparks Early Learning Centre bottle preparation procedure, and be able to document the required information for the parents and the caregivers to access. There will be times for questions at the end of this session. So, firstly, before we start, a bit of fun. I'm going to show you a baby bottle that was used in the Edwardian times from 1894 up until around the early 1950s. Now, this bottle is made out of glass, moulded glass, and has a flat base to keep it stable on the surface. It is boat-shaped and it fits neatly into one hand, allowing the other hand to support the baby. At one end of the bottle there's a hole and you've poured the feeding mixture into it, and the other end has a big rubber teat. How times have changed and how our technology has gotten a lot better. It's also good to note that the formula that they started using was a mixture of sugar, cow's milk and a little bit of flour. And they thought that was good for the babies, and that's what they'd pour into these bottles. So, how does the bottle making procedure we have at Sparks link to the NQS? So can you please look at this first handout titled Quality Area 2, Children's Health and Safety. On it, it has the aim of Quality Area 2 under the National Quality Standard is to safeguard and promote children's health and safety, minimise risk and protect children from harm, injury and infection. All children have the right to experience quality education and care in an environment that provides for their physical and psychological well-being and provides support for each child's growing competence, confidence and independence. So that's the overarching Quality Area 2 description. And then it is broken down into the standards. So under Standard 2.1, which is Healthy Practices and Procedures, it states that effective illness and injury management and hygiene practices are promoted and implemented. So, as you can see, our bottle preparation procedure fits in to the element 2.1.2 of the Quality Area 2 of the NQS, or the National Quality Standards, which every single early learning centre across Australia follows and needs to follow. So it's a really important area of the NQS, as it ensures that each child in our care is well looked after, safe, secure, and their well-being is our priority. So you can see that preparing a child's bottle in the baby room and following the procedure ensures that the correct hygiene practices are implemented and ensures that the children remain safe. Now, I would like to refer you to our next handout, which is the Sparks bottle procedure, bottle preparation procedure, which links to the National Quality Standards. Here is the handout. So this is our own procedure that's based on the NQS that we need to follow every day at work when we're here, when we feed a child. We are going to be going through this in detail now, and I've also given you a copy of this prior to the training session, so you should be familiar with the procedures that you need to follow. Okay, so if you would like to refer to this, the presentation I have on the laptop. The first step is we need to wash our hands with warm, soapy water and dry our hands with a hand towel. The hand towel dispenser is mounted on the wall in the baby room next to the kitchen bench. So you need to dispose of the hand towel as soon as you've used it. And it's also really good to note that we have a hand washing procedure at Sparks that we should be following at all times. The next step we have to do is put the disposable gloves on that are also in the dispenser on the wall in the baby's room. Now, this step is important. We need to review the information from the caregivers that is on the whiteboard in regards to feeding instructions. We have a whiteboard in the baby's room that has all the children's name on it and all relevant information. Children's feeding changes over time. So what they were feeding, the amount that they were having and what they were having changes as they get older. So it's really important that you are up to date with the current feeding instructions for each child. And that information is always written on the whiteboard in the room. And if you're not sure, check with the room leader because they will have the most up-to-date understanding of what the child needs. So at the start of each day, each child's bottles that are clearly named are placed on the kitchen bench in the baby's room to prepare for across the day. So you need to fill the bottle with cooled boiled water from the kettle that is stored in the fridge to the required milliliter of the child's current feeding requirements. All of this is on the kitchen bench in the baby's room. The kettle, the fridge is underneath, all ready to go. Next you need to access the child's tin of formula that is clearly marked with their name and add the correct amount into the bottle from the instructions listed on the tin. Gently mix the formula into the water in a circular motion. Each child's formula, the tin of formula, is stored correctly with their name on it up in the cupboards above the kitchen bench. Now, Once you have done that, you need to remove the lid and the teat of the bottle and place it in the microwave for the required amount of time. The teats can become very hot, so this step is important to follow to ensure there is no injury to the child. Once you have done that, you can replace the lid and shake well to ensure the heating of the milk is distributed evenly around the bottle. Let the bottle sit for 2 minutes. During this time, you can get the child ready to be fed and ensure the child is comfortable. It's a really important time to, if the child has a favourite blanket, if they like to have a snuggle toy, make sure that the child's nappy is dry and clean, because usually after their bottle, it's time for them to go to sleep. So making sure that the child's well-being is accounted for before you start feeding them is really important. And it also links into the National Quality Standards Area 2, which talks about children's well-being. Now, we must test the bottle on your wrist to ensure that the temperature is not too hot. This is also really important as it ensures there is no injury to the child. Remove the disposable gloves and place them in the bin immediately. And then you can give the child the bottle. When you are feeding a child, it is a really great time to bond with the child in your care. Make eye contact with them, smile and ensure that the child feels safe and relaxed. This links to Quality Area 2, as well as ensuring that positive relationships are being formed and the child feels safe and secure. This one-on-one time is precious in an early learning setting because we have so many children in our care, and feeding a baby is one of the only times that you get that one-on-one time with each child. So it's a lovely time to spend with a child. So once the child has been fed, we then need to record the time that you fed the child and the amount the child drank on the whiteboard that is located up on the wall in the baby's room. It's really important to accurately record this information. And any other information that you think is necessary, if the child was fussy or they refused to drink their bottle or they wanted more, or there's a whole range of things that you can record to give the parent and the caregiver more information. And also, if you feel that there's information that the room leader needs to know, you can tell them face to face or write it on the whiteboard as well, because it gives all the caregivers in the room and the parents a holistic view of the child. And sometimes the child is getting sick or is unsettled and they're refusing to eat and drink their bottle, which can be a cause for concern. So that information is really, really important to document so the room leader knows, as well as the parents and caregivers know. So, I hope that you have been able to understand why the bottle making procedure is so important to follow correctly and how it links to our national quality standards, which set the absolute standard for every single early learning centre in Australia. The hygiene practices that we follow are so important because it gives the children the best chance to be safe and secure in the learning environment. And the cross-contamination and spread of illnesses, we want to try and avoid it at all costs. So it's very, very important that this procedure is followed correctly. And it's also fantastic to remind yourself of these procedures. So sometimes life gets very, very busy in an early learning centre, and we can become a little bit complacent in our following the procedures, the correct procedures. So it's really important to remind yourself of these procedures as you go along. Take the policies and procedures file out of the office and remind yourself and go through some of the procedures that you use every single day. And it's a great way to just refresh your skills and refresh your understanding of these policies and procedures and how important they are. So I'd really like to thank you again for coming to this training session, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And we'll now stop for questioning, and we can clarify anything you have, like any other information that you'd like. And yeah, thanks very much.